Okay, friends, welcome. Good to see you today. Thanks for coming, taking this time to attend this particular discussion on commerce orientation. I do have one person with me here, Anirudh, who's come physically. Rest all of you are joined online. We have more than about 18 people who've joined in. Uh, so first and foremost, I would like to mention that this program is for all of you. If you've got any queries, any point in time, please feel free to talk about it. Before I start, uh, I do have some queries that a lot of you have put on. So these queries, we will try and sort them first and make a note of these queries and then discuss the aspects which are required. So on an Excel screen, I'll put the queries that are there. All of you request you to please type your queries for today. And based upon those queries, we will start discussing this particular area for today. We will cover almost major courses that are applicable for the commerce sector and discuss about all those programs for your career as an option. Okay. Uh, any queries? Anu, do you have any queries?
Sir, how will it be doing any professional course after BCom or will it be good to do it now
Okay. Or along with BCom?
or along with it?
Great. So the first question from Anirudh is whether it's good to do any professional course right now, that is along with BCom or after BCom. Anybody else? Guys, please put your queries. If your queries come in, then it becomes more easier for us to discuss about the aspects that are required to take us forward. You can type your queries, and then we get it. Yes, Karthik. Please put it on a chat box and take it up. Anybody, any queries? If you want, you can unmute and talk as well. Either chat or unmute and talk. During the registration process, we did have some queries. If anybody wants to take up, please let me know on those queries. I had a query which said wants to complete CA, needs success mantra for completing CA. I will talk about it.
What are all the professional courses we can get with BCom?
Okay, so various professional
What are
courses
all the profession?
along with BCom. Okay, Vishnu, I got that. Anybody else? That's all. Guys, as I mentioned, the session is for you guys. If you don't talk, yeah, Shriyaraj, my name is Jay Goyal. I am the founder of CFO Next. I started this industry or came into the industry of education with passion. By qualification, I am BCom, CA, ACCA, MBA qualified, and I look at providing quality education to people in the professional world in the commerce and finance sector. Is that okay? Yeah, that's where I am. The reason why I'm in this industry is because I have a lot of passion and want to see people be successful in their careers. That's the whole reason of me being in this industry and talking to all of you today and taking discussion on this forward. Yes, guys. Anybody? Any other query? So that means all of you have just come for some general understanding. You do not looking for anything specific. Okay, I have another query coming in. Okay, so to give you a background on CFO Next, CFO Next is an organization started in 2017 because Vishnu asked this question. CFO Next is an organization started in 2017. We focus on providing professional areas in professional courses, be it ACCA, CMA, CPA, CFA, FRM, various other programs. And we currently have offices in 3 locations, which is Bangalore, and Hyderabad, and carry out operations accordingly. We do have types with corporates for our students to get placed with them, and that's where the position for us is. Okay, guys. Again, we'll come back to all this in the end. We'll talk about what we do, everything on that. Don't worry. At the moment, as I told you, this program, the session today is for you guys to get what you're looking for in your career. And I think it's important that you guys ask your queries rather than we talking about this matter again and again. We'll talk about all of this in the end, don't worry. At the moment, please get to ask your queries first so that we can start the session and talk about it and move forward in that direction. Okay, so there's a query where a student has asked, which is Karthik, one of my student, existing students, is doing BCom plus ACCA, asking whether he he should do he should do masters further or not. Okay, great. Anybody else? Last 3 minutes. Anybody who wants to put their questions, please put it across. And then we can just start the session and talk about the session and move forward accordingly. Get to see all the various courses that we are looking for and progress forward. Yeah. ACCA or CA, which is better? Okay, great. So we'll talk about both the courses today. So then you can decide for yourself what could suit you, what doesn't suit you. Okay. Okay, so there's another query from Karthik along with ACCA, any other course? And also from Anirudh where he asks along with the ACCA, whether ACCA or CA, which is better? That's the course that he's asked. Okay. Fine. So I'll try to cover all of them and discuss about the various options that are there in the current scenario and discuss and take it forward. Would I like to know how many of you doing class 11 and 12 or doing PUC? All of you doing PUC, please say yes in the chat box. All of you doing PUC? So that's 11 and 12. Okay, Bhuvan, Aditya, great. Anybody else doing PUC? Okay, great. So I have two people doing PUC. How many of you doing BCom? Please say BCom in the chat box. Okay, two people doing BCom. Shriya Raj, I request if you could unmute and tell me a little bit about which place you're doing BCom honors, what you're doing. If you can share some information on that, Shriya Raj. Yeah, you can unmute and talk. I would like to know which college, which university, because BCom honors you have mentioned, so I'm not very clear from which part you're doing this BCom honors. That's why I asked you this question. Okay. Anirudh I have here is doing BCom. Okay. So I have another 5 doing BCom. Okay. Anybody who's finished graduation or doing any other graduation apart from BCom? Whatever you're doing, please mention. If you're doing BBA, you're doing BSc, you're doing BA, you're doing law, anything else apart from BCom, anybody's doing in graduation, please mention the course that you're pursuing at the moment. If you're finished BCom, please mention finished on the chat box. Okay. Finished BCom is one person. Okay, fine. Great. So we'll start the session, discuss more about what we're looking for today and understand what needs to be carried out. Now, it's very important for all of us to understand how, first and foremost, the education industry works, get an understanding of what the various aspects in the education industry are, and based upon that, we can progress it forward. So the education courses which are available are majorly classified into 3 major areas. You've got academic courses, you've got professional, and then you've got skill-based courses. Okay. So when I say academic courses, academic courses are the various courses like we've got BCom, BBA, all these programs of MBA, etc. These are all academic programs. Now, in all your career, academic program up till graduation is a must and should. Whatever you do as an extra, that's separate. But for you to come to do anything in your career, academic program like a BCom or a BBA, graduation is must and should. So you should definitely take up this program of BCom and BBA and move forward accordingly. So that's the first level of courses. Whatever you do in school, whatever you do in 11, 12, whatever you do in BCom, these are all academic courses. And academic courses are those courses which are developed under a university and they run as per the university program. They are more theoretical in nature. They do not have any application of the practical world. And that's how they've been taught on a regular basis. Now, coming where the area of professional courses is an area where all the professional areas which are more practical oriented, which are over and above the academic courses which are there, have been covered in the given scenario, and that's what the professional courses are. Now, all these professional courses that we look at will cover the real practical life world and talk about how practically this is going to move and this is going to work accordingly. That's where the practical professional courses are. You've got an array of courses. We'll discuss more about both academic and professional courses during the course of the session and move forward accordingly. Now, lastly, you've got something called as skill-based courses. These focus only on a specific skill. A specific skill could be gaining some knowledge on Excel, say on Tally, on a specific area, say GST, on IFRS, etc. So all these courses are basically a skill-based course, and that's how these courses are covered, and that's how these courses take care. Anybody, any query on any of the courses at the moment? And that's how the courses have been made, and that's how the whole education industry works on these particular types of courses, and that's how they work. I'm sure all of you are waiting for the next slide. Very, very important for all of you to understand what are the various career options for a commerce and a finance student. That's what is the most important thing all of you would be interested in to know. So let me tell you, the topmost position in the finance industry is the position of a CEO or a CFO. Okay. The first position that the finance person looks at is the position of a CFO. But a lot of times a CFO can also go to a CEO role. So therefore, the topmost positions for finance and commerce students in finance industry is the position of a CEO and CFO. Now, under these positions is where you could have 2 separate major heads. One is you enter the consulting field. When you enter the consulting field, the topmost position in the consulting field is that of a partner who is going to be the partner of the firm, and that's where the most position is. Second is where you have industry. We'll understand what industry means. Industry is a scenario where you're going to do everything apart for non-consulting. You're being part of the finance division of an organization and working with the finance division of the organization, and that's where industry would come into picture. Okay, so these are where the 2 major areas where a particular finance professional can work in. To work in both consulting as well as industry, you definitely need academic and professional courses both. A lot of times in today's concerned world, you also need a lot of skill-based courses wherein you can add a lot of skills that are required and work on the skill mechanism that can be carried out. So based on this, you generally need all these 3 types of programs to help understand in which role, how you need to work. At the end of this particular presentation, I will show you what kind of a program is going to benefit you in which particular way and how you can go in that particular area. Now, coming to the area of consulting, in the area of consulting, you've got these various divisions where you have assurance, taxation, business risk services, corporate advisory, and some other areas. Okay. When I say assurance, assurance is a division which will carry out all the statutory audits, the tax audits. It's an area for auditors to take over that particular aspect and run in that particular area. Taxation again is an area where majorly the auditors would play a role, and that's how the auditors will play the role that is required in the taxation side. You got business risk services. These are where the internal audit divisions, internal control, internal functions will work for an organization. Now, when I talk about the consulting position, they are an organization which are going to help other organizations carry out these particular areas. They're not doing it for their own, but they're doing for third party. So this is a business division running as a business. So all the big fours that we see, Ernst & Young, KPMG, Deloitte, PwC, all of them are all part of the consulting big business. They're all part of the consulting business which is there. At the moment in India, all the top 20 companies across the globe, they all have their presence in India and they're working their presence in India accordingly and moving forward. Similarly, corporate advisory is a specialized area where activities of merger acquisition, fundraising, transaction advisory, valuation services, all these special kind of activities have been carried out under corporate advisory, and that's how they work in the particular area. I have a special subhead there called as others. A lot of times these days you would have seen the big fours and the big tens, they have carried out special advisory services or special services wherein they carry out even accounting services, say training services, they have a learning division. So they have these various other divisions which come in there, and that's how they take over in that particular case. Now, whenever I talk about the consulting area, consulting does not cover the finance division of the consulting business. I'm only talking about the business divisions of the consulting area. And we as finance professionals are all interested to work in the business areas of the consulting division, which is what is the areas of assurance, taxation, business risk services, corporate advisory, and other areas which are there. And based upon that is where this particular thing will run. Okay. Anybody, any doubt on the consulting side, please feel free to ask before I move to the industry side. I'm sure all of you as fresh, young professionals should look at going into consulting for some time. And then if need be, you can move towards industry. Yes, somebody had a query, please feel free to ask. Ashant, you had a query? Could I move forward?
So can you explain once again in brief?
Which one? Consulting.
That corporate advisory.
Corporate advisory. Okay. Now, corporate advisory is a specialized advisory function within the consulting division, wherein if say suppose there are two companies who want to get merged into a single company, how should that transaction happen? So they're doing a merger and acquisition, and they are merging the two companies together, and how they should be merged. While merging, what are the benefits that they're going to get? What are the losses that they're going to have? All those kind of activities are carried out in a corporate advisory business. It has got nothing to link with audits, with taxation, with other areas, but it is all about taking business decisions or taking decisions for a corporate and how that corporate at the long term in their strategy needs to move forward. So that's how corporate advisory is. Generally, freshers are not taken in the corporate advisory division. Somebody who's having 5, 6 years or 8 years or 10 years of experience are preferred to move into the corporate advisory divisions, or people who have already got some knowledge on assurance, taxation, business risk services. They are the people who generally come into corporate advisory and move forward to that particular area. That's how that's been running, and that's how this is going for that particular activity. Vishnu, I hope that's fine. So corporate advisory as freshers is not an area where people can just join in. You need a lot of experience before you move into that area of corporate advisory. Okay, that's fine. Then I will move to industry. I will talk about industry. Now, when I talk about industry for commerce and finance professionals, there are 4 major categories of industries. The first category is banking. As finance professionals, we always think that we can join the banking industry. Second is the investment industry, where investment advisory is being carried out. Now, at the moment in India, the most emerging industry is the shared services industry. I'll talk about the industry in detail, and then you have other industries where other activities of joining the finance department could come into picture. Now, for all these industries, if you were to ask me, a graduation is enough. Yes, to enter the industry, a graduation is more than enough. But however, if you want to grow your position, make yourself bigger and go higher, might be a normal BCom or a BBA is not sufficient. Okay. And that's where you might need some additional areas or additional area of focus for you to progress and move forward accordingly. Now, what that focus is, how it has to be done, we will discuss more and move forward accordingly. First and foremost, coming to the banking industry. Now, the banking industry has got various business heads, various operations. However, for a finance professional, the two major area where a finance professional can work in the banking industry is first is in the operations, where I say you work in the branch or you work in the head office and you manage the operations, the business of the banking operations. Second is where you are part of the credit team. And a part of the credit team, you're going to evaluate whether the proposals that you're receiving from your prospective customers, to those proposals whether you can give loan or you cannot give loan. So that's a credit function that's going to happen. Now these are the two functions where in a banking industry are very critical for commerce and finance professionals to join into this particular area of banking, and based upon that is where they can decide whether they want to go into a banking industry or not. Now if you join the banking industry, what is the maximum that you can become? You can definitely go to a position of CEO or CFO of the bank. That's the maximum position that you can have. Become the management of that particular bank and move forward accordingly. Okay. Now, in banking, you have another big role of sales or marketing. Now, as commerce and finance professionals, might be you're not interested in going to sales or marketing, but if you think that you've got a flair or you like the banking or the sales and the marketing, then definitely you have a lot of opportunity to enter the sales and marketing business. Also, as a banking professional, because the bank works on all financial products, might be it makes a lot of sense for we finance professionals, because we understand the products much easily. It could be easier for us to enter the banking industry and enter into sales and finance if you have a flair for that particular area. Okay. Second, coming to the investment business again has got sales and marketing. I'm not talking about sales and marketing over here. I'm talking more for the finance professional. Now, coming to the investment area, there are two major areas in the investment business. First is the aspect of market research. Okay, finance professionals can enter the activity of market research, carry out equity research, debt research, various kinds of research on a particular company or on the stock markets or on the markets of debt, capital, equity, etc. And based upon the market research, that's one area where the finance professionals can work. Second major area where the finance professionals will work is the aspect of fund management. How do we manage the money? How do we manage funds that are coming into? How it can be invested so that more returns can be achieved? And based upon that, the investment industry would work. Now, apart from this, as we told, like we have marketing in the banking area, you will have marketing here also. But in the investment industry, for the finance professional, it's always important to have good market research and look at the fund management which is there. Now, these are two specific industries where finance professionals can work. The third specific industry, which is growing a lot of momentum in India for the last 7-8 years, is the area of shared services. Now, shared services are nothing but, again, multinational corporations, multinational organizations who are setting up their finance functions, not in their countries, but in India for a couple of reasons. A lot of you might think they're sharing the services here, so they're coming here for cost. First and foremost, let me tell you, shared services is not coming to India because of cost, but shared services coming to India because of two major things. First, there's a huge availability of labor in India, labor that is ready to work in this particular industry of finance and accounting. Second, the major reason why shared services is coming to India is because the quality of output in India for this particular area is very high as compared to quality of output in other parts of the world. Okay. Now, due to which you see a lot of shared services that come up to India. If you see companies like HP, Cargill, NetApp, Tesco, all these companies which you see which come up in India are all part of the shared services network in India. And that's where they are going to carry out these particular activities, and that's how they're going to look. Now, these shared services generally have 4 types of divisions where the finance professional can work. The first division is where they call it as R2R, which is also called as AR, accounts receivable, or you have P2P, which is procure to pay, commonly called as accounts payable, and then you have general ledger, which is GL. You also have something called as FP&A, which is finance planning and analysis. Generally, in the shared services industry, normal BCom professionals are not considered to go for an FP&A role. FP&A role involves a lot of analysis, a lot of planning. So they prefer people who are professionals to join the FP&A role. You've got an internal audit function, and then you've got compliance and controls, which also can take care of the taxation. So one of the growing areas for you young professionals at the moment in the given day context is to work in the shared services industry and work the way they go. Now, the shared services industry has got two aspects. One is it's a part of the consulting organization as well. For example, if I look at all the big fours say EY. EY has got a shared services center for their EY USA, EY UK, and they also have a shared and they also have a business for India. So even they in the consulting industry have started the shared services activity, and that's how the shared services industry can work. Moving forward, we have the other finance industries, any other industry in which you can be a part of the finance department. So that is the other industry that you can have. But for a finance professional at the current scenario, we're looking for four major areas, which are consulting, banking, investment, and shared services. These are the four major areas under which a finance professional can work and take care of their journey that they have. Joining any finance department of any other organization, that is totally available for them for it to move. Now, when I talk about consulting, consulting could be with big companies, could be small companies, medium companies. Depending on the size, you can take a decision and move forward accordingly. Okay. Anybody has any query on this at the moment? At the end of the session, we will see what kind of a program you need to do to enter what kind of industry. We will see all of that and discuss more about it as we progress forward. Okay. Anybody, any query till now before I move forward? Okay. So I'll take the first one, which is on ACCA. Talk more about ACCA. The first thing on ACCA is it's called as Association of Chartered Certified Accountants, coming from UK. It's nothing but a chartered accountancy program coming from UK, valid in more than 180 countries. Started in the year 1904. It has the required experience and the required background because it's been there for more than 100 years, and that's how they've been playing in this market. They're they've been in India for the last more than about 10 years, and that's how they've been progressing. Now, the first and foremost thing, the eligibility for ACCA is that you should have cleared your class 10 or you have appeared for your class 10 exams, and after that you can start writing ACCA if you want to start the program. The content of ACCA focuses on 6 major areas, being accounting, reporting, auditing, taxation, finance and costing, and leadership. So these are the 6 major areas where the subjects are focused on, and that's how the focus on the papers are, and that's how the program has been made. It's got 3 different levels, and on each of those levels is where the program runs. Now, looking at career opportunities, ACCA has the following career opportunities. You can look at joining all the big 4 accounting companies, which is in the consulting sphere. Second, you can look at entering the shared services business with all the multinational companies which are there. You can join small and medium CA offices, practice it over yourself. You can join the various accounting departments of various companies, and you can enter into public practice. That means you yourself as a qualified chartered accountant can enter public practice, but not in India. Outside India, there is recognition for this over 90 countries to enter into public practice. However, in India, there is no recognition for public practice for ACCA. So if you want to practice in India, then you'll have to do something called as Indian Chartered Accountancy. We'll talk about it and see how this will go. The overall cost for a student is about 1,60,000 that they need to pay to ACCA. And the coaching fees for this ranges from 40,000 to about 1.5 lakhs, depending upon the program at which the student is. There are about 13 exams that a student needs to clear over a period of 3 years. And the most suitable time for somebody to start ACCA is when they have finished their class 10 and they start studying along with 11 and 12. So that along with BCom, maximum along with graduation, they try to finish the program. This is the most suitable. People could do this along with BCom as well, but this is one of the most suitable times. People do after BCom, after CA as well. But the most suitable time where people can finish ACCA faster is when they join after class 10. Okay, that's how ACCA program is. We as CFO Next, we do provide coaching on ACCA. We talk about ACCA, we give more information on ACCA. We also have collaborative programs with various colleges, universities, wherein along with your BCom, we help students get exemptions from ACCA. When I say exemptions, what it means is the student is doing BCom. There could be a lot of syllabus which is common in BCom and in ACCA. Those common syllabus have been merged, and whatever they study in BCom, based upon that, it is assumed that you don't have to study that again in ACCA. So we help you get exemptions from writing about 4 or 6 papers, and you need to write only the balance papers to get ACCA. So you can accelerate, you can finish ACCA much faster as compared to what you're trying to do otherwise. Anybody had a query on ACCA? Somebody wants to ask on ACCA? I did have some queries on ACCA. Somebody asked me ACCA or CA, which is better. That we will see once we finish CA as well. BCom plus ACCA, doing masters, that we'll see again once we look at the master areas and discuss about it. And that's how we will move forward. Okay. Now there's a query where somebody's asked, along with ACCA, any other course? I will also answer this in the end. When we have a look at all other courses, we'll discuss about it and move forward accordingly. Okay. Anybody till now? Anything on ACCA? Anybody would like to know? If it's fine, then we'll progress forward, see the next program, understand what the next program has got to say. Okay. One of the areas where this is running very strong. A lot of students have got attraction or got attracted to this particular program from which is called as Certified Management Accountant coming from USA. You also have a certified management program coming from India, which is ICMA. This is a program coming from IMA started. So this was a body started in the year 1919, 1919, which is almost 100 years old. And they just celebrated the 100 years ceremony recently. And that's how they are doing. Now, one of the important things in CMA is the eligibility criteria is that the person has to have finished graduation at a minimum. Okay. However, the moment they register for CMA, they have been given a 4-year period. Within that 4 years, they need to produce that they finished their graduation. So once a student finishes their PUC or class 12, they can join the program. But within a 4 years of they joining the program, they need to produce a graduation certificate that they finished graduation. Only then they will get their CMA degree. They'll get their CMA degree. Otherwise, they're not going to get their CMA degree. So the basic qualification requirement for CMA is nothing but a graduation. Okay. Now the career focus or the content focus in CMA is as follows. You see accounting, costing and finance, leadership, management, risk management. Okay. Whereas if you were to see in ACCA, you had focus on auditing, taxation as well. You also had focus a little bit on reporting, whereas in CMA, you don't have that focus at all. In CMA, you have focus of only accounting, costing, leadership, management, and risk management. So these are the areas where CMA is focused upon. CMA, a lot of times, is also called as mini MBA. People who are doing CMA are coming from the management side, and they are going to carry out aspects of a mini MBA. Now, the career opportunities in CMA are you can join shared services, you can join finance functions of various companies. You can look at FP&A roles. So all people who want to enter finance planning and analysis, FP&A, they should look at doing CMA. You can join accounting departments and major areas of cost management. So these are the 5 major areas which are going to be where CMAs could enter and talk about that. If you see here, I have not mentioned anything about consulting. CMAs have a huge restriction in entering the consulting industry. So therefore, for CMAs, this is an area where you will work more with industry and not with consulting. So any of you who are looking to join the consulting industry, then CMA is not for you. You might have to go for ACCA or some other program which you feel is going to work for you. Okay. The overall cost to student from CMA is about 40,000. The fees for coaching, books, material will range from 40 to 75,000. The best part in CMA, you need to write only 2 exams. These exams are spread over 1 to 2 years, depending upon your pace. You can finish these exams in over a period of 1 or 2 years, and that's how it'll move. It is suitable for people, for students who have just entered their second year or pursuing their second year, so that within second year and third year of their BCom or their qualification, they can finish CMA and move forward in their journey. That's how it could work. So that's why CMA is one of the leading programs coming from US. In US, if you were to see, if you want a CFO in US, for all US companies CFO, they prefer to have somebody who has done graduation, who has done CMA, who's done CPA, and then done MBA. So these are the 3 or 4 qualifications that they want for a CFO to be placed in the organization. They just don't want a CFO with just 1 qualification. They need to have a minimum of 3 to 4 qualifications, which is a mix of academic as well as professional. So they want both the qualifications for a person in any US based organization to be a role of a CFO. And that's how this has been made. Okay. Anybody, any query on CMA, please feel free to ask. We do teach CMA at CFO Next, and we talk about CMA. We provide some of the best best coaching on the aspects of CMA to discuss it forward. Okay. Can I move
Sir,
forward?
CMA is based on industries only. No, sir.
Yes. So CMA is an area where if you work on CMA, you cannot be working on the consulting business. You cannot be working in accounting firms. You have to go into industry. And if you're looking to go into industry, then CMA is a program that you should be looking at. It's more finance and management oriented rather than consulting oriented.
Can we go for industry with ACCA course?
So even with ACCA, you can go to industry, definitely go to industry, there's no problem. But with ACCA, you also have an advantage to go into consulting. So if you were to look at the opportunity for job for an ACCA is much more than for a CMA. So if you look at the course content, the only difference that ACCA and CMA have are the aspects of this risk management, which is a very small area. You do have risk management even in ACCA, but in ACCA, the coverage is very, very small. But otherwise, in CMA, the coverage is a little higher. That's the only gap. If you see, otherwise, the content of ACCA is much more than the content of CMA. And that's the focus that is there in the aspects of ACCA and CMA. So on an overall basis, the scope, if you were to ask me from a job perspective, the scope for ACCA is going to be much broader because you have an opportunity to join consulting, you have an opportunity to join industry, whereas in the case of CMA, the opportunity to join into consulting is relatively lower as compared to CMA. Is that okay, Vishnu? I hope you got your answer.
Yes, sir, but I didn't get the eligibility point. When do we get eligibility?
For CMA,
Yes, CMA.
okay. For CMA, the eligibility is that whenever you start the program, from the day you start the program, you need to produce or you need to submit that you have finished graduation within 4 years from the date you joined the program. So say suppose somebody who finished second PUC or 12th, he starts CMA, he can start writing the exams of CMA, but he will be given CMA degree only after giving his BCom or graduation degree. To produce a graduation degree, they have a period of 4 years from the day they register for the program. So somebody who joined first year BCom can start studying for CMA and move forward accordingly. There's no problem in that. Is that okay? Now do you get the eligibility?
Okay, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Got it.
Okay.
Thank you,
Yeah.
sir.
Now the advantage in CMA, there are only 2 exams, but don't think that the exams are easy. Let me tell you, none of the courses in today's times are easy. You have to really focus and prepare for them. Even though there are 2 exams, each exam is worth for 500 marks, and you need to get 72% to clear these exams and move forward. Overall, the pass percentage for CMA is about 45 to 50%. For ACCA, the pass percentage in every paper is between 35 to 60%, depending on the paper, and that's how they move forward accordingly. Okay. Yeah, I'm sure all of you want to hear more about this, the Indian Chartered Accountancy. We'll discuss this in length, understand how things have to be gone. Okay, fine, feeling very well. Okay. Okay. Now, coming to the Indian Chartered Accountancy that I'm talking about. First and foremost, the eligibility requirement for Indian Chartered Accountancy is that students should have cleared class 12. Okay, even though you can start studying for CA in your 11th and 12th in your PUC, but the requirement for you to go and write exams is you can do that only after finishing your class 12. Before class 12, you cannot write the Chartered Accountancy program and you cannot progress forward to move accordingly. The focus on the subjects here are accounting, reporting, auditing, taxation, finance, and costing. If you were to see, very similar to what we saw in ACCA, the only difference that we saw between here and ACCA is ACCA also has a focus on leadership. It gives you the aspects that are required to become a leader, and that's where you have the particular difference between CA and ACCA from a perspective of the content which is there. Also, the second thing for CA covers only the Indian aspects of taxation and finance, Indian aspects of taxation audit, whereas ACCA covers the international aspects, and that's one other area on the content which we are seeing. Okay, career opportunities between CA, ACCA, the same. You can work in big four accounting companies, small and medium CA offices, accounting departments of various companies, and individual chartered accountant practice can be started. However, for CA, practice can be done only in India and not abroad. That's the aspect that you have. Okay. cost to student from ICI is about 40,000, including all the fees that you're going to pay. The training varies from 50,000 to 2 lakh rupees over different structures. You need to clear 20 exams. An average person takes about 4 years to finish this. Suitable time, it's better to start studying along with class 11 and 12, so that the moment you finish your class 12, you can enter and start writing your graduation, your foundation, and then progress and move forward accordingly. Again, let me tell you, it's very very important for all of you to do BCom along with your CA. Do not neglect your BCom. If you neglect your BCom, then it becomes very difficult. Also, another reason why that's important for all of you to do BCom along with CA is that you have a surety that BCom you will finish, but with CA, there is no surety that you'll be able to finish the program or not. So let me tell you, a program like CA has a pass percentage which is much lesser than even 0.1%. Okay, the pass percentage in CA is very less. Can anybody tell me till now how many chartered accountants are there? Anyone? Any guess? Anirudh, how many chartered accountants you think should be there in today's context? From CA Institute, how many CAs have cleared? Anybody?
Maybe 50 lakh.
50 lakhs. Okay, Vishnu says 50 lakhs. Anybody, any other guess? Five lakhs. Okay. I have my colleague who says 5 lakhs. Anybody, any other guess? So till today, all over India, there are only 2,97,000 chartered accountants in India who've cleared the program and who have become chartered accountants since 1949, and that's how the program is. So the kind of pass percentage that is there for this particular program is very low. There are less than 0.1% who clear the exam. Now, the reason why the people who are passing this particular program is low is because the volume and the rigidity in the way the exams are conducted. Huh? So I think more than competition is not the issue. The issue is there is a lot of rigidity in the way the exams are made. Now, the exams have been put in forms of groups, and if you fail even one subject in that particular group, then you need to write the whole group again and again. So due to the complexity and the rigidity which is there in the program is where there is a lot of failure in this particular area. Unfortunately, I've seen a lot of people who take up passing CA or taking up and making CA on their ego, on their personal professional ego, which creates a lot of problem in their career, in terms of professional career as well as personal life. I've had a lot of colleagues who took up CA when they were in their early 18, 19, and they didn't finish even till the age of 30, 35. They're not getting married. They're not doing all these things because they're not able to clear CA. So the program definitely is an amazing program. But if anybody who's planning to take up CA, I would recommend all of you to please put a full stop or put a comma in your life if you're not able to progress with the program. Otherwise, your personal professional life totally will get hampered because of you not finishing your CA. Okay, that's what my whole objective is. Program is excellent, no problem, but you need to really rethink and put a deadline as to by when you should be finishing or stopping the CA program. Okay, somebody asked me for difference between ACCA and CA. As I told you, from the content perspective, no major difference. The only additional in ACCA is what is we see is leadership. The major differences between the program is the way the program has been structured. ACCA is more flexible, CA is not so flexible. ACCA is global in nature, CA is more Indianized, it's more domestic in nature, and that's how this program has been made. From a degree perspective, both are chartered accountancy degrees, one coming from India, the other coming from UK. There's no much difference about it, and that's how they are. From a cost perspective, if you look at overall cost, including coaching, the overall cost is almost same. However, the fees paid to the CA Institute is lower. The fees paid to the to ACCA Institute is more. But overall, when you take the overall cost, including books, material, etc., the overall cost comes very similar. The timeline to start for both of them also is similar. Someone could start ACCA at 11 and 12. The only difference is in 11 and 12 itself, ACCA people can start writing exams. However, in the case of CA, they'll be able to write exams only after their class 12 is over. You cannot write before that. So that's how these are some of the differences which you see between ACCA and CA, and that's how the programs are. Now, at the current moment in India, there is a relative drop in people joining the CA program only because of the kind of rigidity that the CA program has got. Also, recently the CA body, which is ICI, have changed their program, or changed from the old scheme, or rather have gone back to the much older scheme, which was foundation. So they earlier had CPT, where there were multi-choice questions. From that multi-choice question options, they have gone back to the foundation scheme, where there's no multi-choice options. It's all descriptive in nature, and that is more testing, more than the knowledge of the person is testing the memory skills of that particular person, and that's where this program is. Anybody, any query on Indian CA? I'm sure most of you will not have much queries on Indian CA. Anybody who's determined to do Indian CA will take up Indian CA and move forward accordingly. For me, fortunately, I've cleared CA as well as ACCA, and that's where I can talk more about this particular program. Okay. Anybody, any query before I move forward? Okay. We'll talk quickly about company secretary. Company secretary is generally an add-on program to the chartered accountants, to the CA program. Company secretary, people can start after their class 12 is over. It's more related with the following focus, which is Secretarial, Companies Act, Foreign Exchange Management Act, Securities and Exchange Control, and Taxation. These are the 5 areas where the company secretaries work. So if you see these areas, these are complementing to an Indian chartered accountant, and therefore generally standalone company secretaries are very, very few. Majorly females or ladies take up a company secretary program standalone, but generally people who finish CA, along with their CA, they prefer to do CS so that they gain the knowledge that is required for Companies Act and the Foreign Exchange Management Acts. That's how the secretarial position is. Unfortunately, in the UK, the role of company secretary has already been abolished. In US, already abolished, and that's how company secretary over a period of time, even though has got momentum in India, in other parts of the world, the requirement of company secretaries are coming down, and people like advocates, which are lawyers and chartered accountants, are taking over the roles of company secretary. Even in India, in practice, if you were to see, 40-50% of the secretarial work is managed by chartered accountants, and they are the ones who take up. So doing standalone company secretary is something which is not advisable. It is suggested that you do as an add-on with CA or some other program. The career opportunities is you become a secretary or a company secretary of listed entities. More so with your opportunities only with listed entities. You cannot join any company as a secretary. Second, you can work with company secretarial offices. Third is you can start your own company secretarial practice as an entrepreneur and move forward as a professional. Okay. Approx cost again to ICCI, that's the body, you have to pay about 40,000. The coaching is from 50,000 to 2 lakhs. It ranges depending on sector to sector. Here also you need to write about 20 exams over a period of 4 years. You can start coaching in 11 and 12, but your exams can be written only after class 12 is over. As I mentioned, this is like an add-on course for people who done CA. Standalone company secretary is not a good option for people to take up. Okay. Yeah, let's look at another chartered accountancy program or certified public accountant from USA, coming from US. You might be interested if you think that what would be the program on this. Now, CPA again is coming from US based qualification. If you want to join any US organization, then you should look at doing CPA US and move forward in the direction. Over here, the minimum eligibility is post-graduation. That means you should have finished MCOM, MBA, or a post-graduation degree or equivalent, and only then you can take up a CPA US. That's the minimum requirement of eligibility. So for you guys at the moment when you're in class 11 and 12 in your BCom, it's important for you to start focusing on getting other qualifications. Other qualifications like we will look at doing CMA, ACCA, CA, etc. So that by the time you finish your graduation, post-graduation and post-graduation, is where you can think of taking up a CPA program if you are interested in moving forward in that area. Okay. This again has the following content focus: accounting, reporting, auditing, taxation, finance, and costing. Very similar to what we saw in the Indian CA, but the only difference is this is more applicable and relevant from US law perspective, specifically focused for US laws, and that's how this has been kept accordingly. Career opportunities are big four accounting companies, accounting departments of various companies, and individual chartered accountancy practice for only for US, not for India or any other world, but you can do individual practice only for US and progress it forward. AICPA's fees is about 1,50,000. The training fees ranges from 1,50,000 to 3 lakh rupees, and that's how you can take this call. It generally takes, the exams are only 4 exams you need to write, and it takes about 2 years for you to do that exam. It is ideal to start immediately after graduation. The moment you finish graduation, you can start thinking about writing CPA, but just graduation is not enough. Along with graduation, you will have to do MCOM or MBA, and along with that, you'll have to start studying for CPA. Okay. Anybody, any query on CPA? Okay, I have spoken about some skill-based programs. We discussed about banking investments today. Now you have something called as financial modeling and valuation analyst, which is a CFI program coming from Canada. CFI is an organization based out of Canada called Corporate Finance Institute Canada. Now, this organization provides a specific self-learning based online program for all of you to know if you want to enter financial modeling and valuation analysis as to how you need to make financial models, how you need to make business models. This is more relevant for people who are looking to join private equity firms, investment banking, bank, equity research, and become investment managers. So for people who want to enter the banking industry and the investment industry is where a program of financial modeling analysis could work. The overall cost over here is about 18,000 and you get the lifetime access for this. The suitable time for people to do this is after graduation or along with their graduation. The general time taken for this is about 4 to 6 months time and people can take up this particular program. We have a second program here, which is Certified Banker and Credit Analyst, specifically focused again on the banking industry. Anybody, as we discussed, looking to enter banking, credit and banking operations, for them, this is a program that can be taken up. This is preferable to do along with your BCom program, so that immediately after BCom, if you want to enter the banking industry, then this is a program that can help you become something that you're looking in the banking industry and get ready for that particular area. Again, duration is 4 to 6 months. You can decide to take this up in your final year of your BCom. We also have Certified Market and Security Analyst. People who want to enter equity research, equity markets, enter broking, become brokers in the equity market. This is where the CFI program could be looking for, and people could take up this particular area. Again, can be taken along with BCom and worked along with BCom. That's it. I've spoken about major programs. We as CFO Next run a special program called as Foundations in Accountancy. Now, this is a program where what we do for the students is anybody who wants to look at doing professional courses after finishing their class 10 and they want to enter a professional course for their commerce can join for this program and get strong foundations in their 11 and 12. When they're doing their first PU and second PU, they gain strong foundations where they learn about various areas of accountancy, finance. They get to know a lot of areas about Excel. That's the practical real world. They can learn communication and they can learn some tally so that they become strong in their accounting areas. So that by 11 and 12, by the time they finish, they are very strong with their fundamentals and their foundations. And once they are strong with their foundation and fundamentals is where they can decide to take up any professional course that they want. And these fundamentals will help them grow in their professional outlook, which is there. Now, the most important thing, we saw various industries, correct? We saw all the various industries. Now, all these industries that we saw, what kind of program is required for somebody to do that particular industry? Okay. Now, first and foremost thing I would like to tell you, any chartered accountancy program, be it ACCA, be it Indian CA, or be it CPA US, these programs are evergreen programs. When I say evergreen programs, now these are the programs which will help you gain the required recognition in the market. Point number A. Point number B, whichever industry that you want to work across the sectors, whatever are all the sectors that we are seeing, any industry that you want to work over here, any area that you want to work over here, these three qualifications, which are chartered accountancy qualifications, will help you to go anywhere that you want. For an example, CMA has some limitation. You cannot go into consulting. CFI has some limitation. You have to work specifically only in the banking industry or investment banking. But a program like a chartered accountancy program can help you enter any of the areas of business or any of the areas of finance and commerce professional career that we're talking about. If you want to enter the banking industry, a ACCA program or a CA program can help you do that. If you want to enter investment banking, an ACCA program can help you do that. If you want to enter the shared services, again, the ACCA program can help you do that. Similarly, if you want to enter the consulting area, again, a CA or an ACCA can help you do that. So based upon that, I would always recommend all of you that along with your BCom, it's important for all of you to please start taking up a professional course like CA or ACCA or CPA as the case could be, and then progress and move forward accordingly. Because these are the programs which are hope for people to move forward and take up that particular situation. Okay. Now, consulting, if you were to see, In the Indian side of consulting, assurance is an area only for Indian CA. You will not get an ACCA or a CPA will not have option there. Even for taxation, only Indian CA because it's more domestic in nature. Now we have something called as business risk services, where is the internal audit division, internal control. Here both CA and ACCA are hired in the Indian sphere and taken up. In corporate advisory, again, CA and ACCA both are considered, and that's how they are taken up. In other areas, both CA and ACCA can be taken. The only two areas where ACCAs or CPAs cannot work in India are assurance and taxation. Now that is the only limitation that an ACCA has got, because they are learning more about assurance and taxation from an international standpoint of view and not from an Indian standpoint of view, and that's where the difference could be. Okay. Coming to banking, ACCA, CFI, CA, all of them can start working. All chartered accountancies and people who are doing CFI, we saw specific programs in the banking areas, they can enter this particular area. For investments, again, ACCA, CFI both can work. We also have another program called CFA. In investment banking, people prefer to take CFAs along with MBAs to take up this particular area and move forward accordingly. Now, when I talk about shared services, for the case of shared services, all chartered accountants, ACCAs, CAs, and CPAs are preferred in all the areas of the shared services which are there, and accordingly, the shared services are taken care of. In other industry finance departments, CMAs, yes, CMAs can work. In all the finance departments, CMAs will have an option to play. In shared services, again, you can find CMAs also to work and take up the respective areas of CMA which are there. Now, these are where the various courses are, and this is how the aspects that I've spoken about. Now, I also want to talk about two academic courses, be it BCom, BBA, MBA, very, very important for all of you. Now, at the current juncture, MBA is one such program wherein, unless and until you do it from a top recognized university, it's not going to add value for all of you. So, if any of you are planning to take up MBA, then you need to crack it and join the top 10 or top 20. If you are not going to join the top 20, the balance, if you do an MBA, it has no much recognition in the job market. So, it's very, very critical for all of you to rethink what MBA you want to do. However, if you take up any professional program, the professional program can help you join along with your BCom that you're doing or along with the PUC that you're doing. And that professional program will help you get more knowledge in whatever you want to do in your future. So it's very important for all of you to do definitely BCom, and along with BCom or BBA, any other professional course which we are talking about at the moment, or something to move forward in that given direction. That's where I am. I'm open for questions. Anybody, if you want any queries, please feel free to ask. I think all the major questions given today have been taken care of. So the first question I have taken. Second question, complete CA, what is success mantra? That is the point I'll come back to. I've spoken about the various professional courses along with BCom, BCom plus ACCA, masters, whether you require or not. See, always having a master's is always an advantage. So definitely, Karthik, I think the question that you raised, you should try and do a master's. Now, the master's in which field you want to do is something that we can discuss. Might be you can do an MBA or might be you can do an MCom. Depending upon what you want to do in your future, we can decide on that and take up accordingly. Now, ACCA or CA, which is better? This is a very difficult question. Both have their plus and minus. You need to decide based upon what you want to do. If you want to work on the Indian side, then definitely you cannot take up ACCA. If you want work in the international or the global side, then ACCA is a better option, because there's more flexibility for you to clear exams is much easier. You can get more opportunities to move forward. So that's how you will have to decide whether you want to work on the Indian side or on the international side, and then decide which one will be better for you from a career perspective. Along with ACCA, you can definitely take up CMA, CFA, CFI. We spoke about CFI today. These are the programs that you can definitely take up along with ACCA. Yes, guys, anybody, any query, please feel free to ask. My contacts are there. Anybody who wants to contact, please feel free. We conduct the career orientation sessions every Saturday from 5 to 6. If any of you have any queries, please feel free to ask, to reach out to us. You can refer your friends to join for the program or discuss about this program. The workshops are free and taken up accordingly. Anybody else who is doing any other program or looking to know more about any program, please feel free to ask. Anyone? Okay, so there's a question where Balaji has asked, can we do articleship for ACCA in foreign? If an organization is giving you an articleship there, then definitely you can do. Nobody's stopping.
The subject gets tougher as we move on to the higher semesters. Will it be BCom and intermediate.
Intermediate meaning CA intermediate.
Intermediate.
Okay. So the question.
Anything, not only CA, but CA, CS.
Okay. So the question is that how practical it is to do both BCom and a professional program. That's your question, isn't it? Now, I've always told this and I'm telling this again. BCom is nothing but be calm. You have to be calm, go to college, enjoy, meet your friends, do some masti, come back. That's what is BCom. Okay. But if you want to get serious in your life, then BCom cannot help you. Okay. Now, if you want to get serious, you need to know what is your limit of enjoyment. So you need to put some cut down on your enjoyment, and therefore you need to take up a professional program. So definitely there is going to be some reduction in enjoyment that you have to plan.
Both of those courses that clash.
How will it clash? For an example, if I take my own example, okay, I'm not saying today, some 15 years back, I did BCom CA together, doing articleship, studying for BCom, studying for CA, all three together. It's possible. So even today, a lot of students do that only. Okay. Now, how you can manage your time, how you will do your aspects is a decision on a person, left on that particular person. It's not dependent upon the course, it's even on the particular person. And that's how it will work. So if you ask me, it's manageable, it's highly manageable. People doing that have got ranks also. So it's highly possible. It's not that it's not possible. Highly possible, depending upon how you take it up. Then it can be done. Okay, guys, anybody, any questions? Any queries?